Hello again. When we first started the development of the IO-Link AOI catalog file, one of the questions we faced was how much time would it take to get every single device integrated, and would it be worth the effort if we couldn't launch with everything? The answer, of course, is that it was going to be impossible to launch with every device parameter index function that's available, so we had to create some building blocks that allow the end user to integrate their own solutions into the framework. The simplest of these building blocks are the generic AOIs. These allow you to indicate that you have a device connected to a specific port, read and write process data, and read and write different IO-Link index values. To show an example, I've connected an inclinometer sensor here to port 4. And if we jump over to our Turck automation suite, we can see this device and kind of what's going on. First thing we'll look at is observation. This is kind of like real world numbers. And we see that we are currently at negative 12 degrees and 2.6. Okay. So it's sitting straight on the desk, so we should be able to center that somehow and say we're actually here. So up to parameters, set center point. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we see our LEDs have gone solid. So now if we go back to our observation, we're closer to 0. Now I'll put it on my calibrated tilt here. So we're at 14.8 degrees, negative 3.1, but when we send it over to the PLC, these are going to be in whole integers, right? So 14.8 degrees and negative 3.1. And so let's go ahead and jump over to process data structure. And we're going to see that the angle of the X and the Y axis are going to be in their own words, which is great. That'll make it really easy. So again, we're going to be looking at those values. Jump over to the PLC. We're going to start by grabbing our generic process data AOI, bringing that into our project. All right, and then put that here. We're going to call this QR20 AOI. And that is on port 4. Common data, where's our glue? Here we are, common data. Input words are going to be one whole data type because we don't know how many words each device is going to be, right? So we're going to just do it as one declaration. And declare those two, okay, and then we'll download this to the PLC. Okay, there we go. And then we can go to our controller tags, monitor, QR20 input, 14.9 degrees and negative 3.1. Perfect. So now let's say that I want to actually set this as my installed point. So I want to basically perform the action that in these parameters set center point. Now the easiest way that I know of in order to do this is I actually utilize the IO-Link IODD Finder website. So you can just paste the part number in there and we can go to IODD Finder and you'll notice identification, parameter diagnosis, pretty similar to how we have it represented in TAS. So we'll go to parameter and center point and input or info there. Index 258 8-bit length. All right, so let's go over to our PLC project. We're going to write data. And we can drop this into our project. So generic write data. This is also going to need its AOI, so center AOI, common data. Port. Now we need to declare that first. Port 4, index 258, subindex 0, write data. Actually, I think set center point now is 3, so we have to set it to a value of 3. So we're just going to do 3 right there. And then we want status to tell us it's invalid. All right, so we'll go ahead and download this to the PLC. All right. And then if we go controller tags, monitor. All right, so right now we're at 15 degrees and -3. And we go to our center AOI and we trigger a write. You should see yes, right. So we also have to tell it what type of data type it is. And this was actually an 8-bit. By default, I think it does 16-bit. So if we re-trigger the write, we can see our LEDs go solid. And if we scroll up, see that our angles that are being reported are almost at 0. So the cool thing about these generic AOIs is you can also string a bunch of these together. You can set up as many of these AOIs as you need to any one of the devices, pointed to multiple indexes, and then you can just have a trigger. So then it allows you to be reading diagnostics, you can be writing certain things. All sorts of stuff are available if we haven't gotten to building it into the catalog file yet. So hopefully that takes care of devices we haven't gotten around to yet. If you have any questions, please let us know.